Eleanor Duncan, State Director for AARP Connecticut. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Tea with AARP-CT, which is usually an interview series on the issues important to people 50 plus in Connecticut and their families. But today we're going to do things a little differently. Jackie Crenshaw was one of 8 people to testify in favor of Connecticut House Bill 6990, an act concerning the seizure and forfeiture of virtual currency and virtual currency wallets. Jackie was the victim of a cryptocurrency romance scam that cost her nearly $1 million. To add insult to injury, Jackie owes nearly $60,000 in taxes on money that was stolen from her. I'd already been speaking to law enforcement in Connecticut about an idea for legislation that would help them seize digital currency when I was connected to Jackie by the leader of the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline. Jackie told me her story, told me she wanted to fight hard and tell her story everywhere she could in an effort to prevent someone else from being victimized. Jackie became a volunteer with AARP Connecticut so we could help elevate her story. Jackie's story is featured on AARP Fraud Wars. It's called Behind His Blue Eyes, A Romance Scammer Lurked. I encourage you to watch the full 12-minute video. Jackie's compelling story showcases how elaborate and devastating romance scams can be. I'd like to thank the Connecticut General Assembly for their unanimous support of this legislation in 2025 and the governor for signing the bill. This bill will help law enforcement recover stolen funds from future victims.
Hello, beautiful.
So wonderful to hear your voice.
You've met someone through an online dating app. You spent months talking every day, you trust them.
This person really cares about me.
They offer to help you with your retirement investments.
We were planning this life together.
I wanted to make sure you got access to that platform we talked about.
He went to great lengths to gain my trust.
By the time you suspect something is wrong,
it was shock. My money was gone.
What would you do? Jackie's story is a heartbreaking example of just how sophisticated and cruel romance scams are. What feels like genuine connection is really calculated manipulation. Jackie's not alone, and her story is a stark reminder of how hope can be weaponized in the wrong hands.
So at this particular time in my life, I was 59 years old, and I had all the things that you work 40 years for, saving for your retirement. And there was just that one thing missing, being so busy, is someone to share it with, or, just a companion. Now, I had never done online dating, but I was willing to give it a try. I got on a site one of my best friends talked about late May of 2023. I did see someone who I was like, oh my goodness, he had beautiful, blue eyes. So I reached out and I was like, oh, I like your eyes as a compliment. He reached right back out to me. We began to communicate. He was like, oh, I really like you. He was pretty insistent about how much he cared for me so soon. He told me that, he was a widower. And he had 2 small boys. He had lost his wife and was raising these boys, stayed at home with them with COVID. And that's how he got really good with crypto. He was in construction and he was on this super secret government job. And we talked at least 4 or 5 times a day. I worked long hours. Food would appear, 20 minutes later. You know how that made me feel? This person really cares about me because, I don't have to come home and cook after a long day. And there were trinkets and pillows, and there's a necklace with my picture on one side and his on the other. He went to great lengths to gain my trust and get my guard down. I started to think of this is someone who I could spend my life with. And that's how he also, planned it as we were planning this life together. That was part of the trust. And then came the talk of investment. Not pushy at first, just kind of, did you know about it? I think that was 2 months after. That was when I first went and borrowed $40,000 from my 401k. Once the money leaves my bank account, you do a wire transfer to Bitcoin. He started sending me, which ended up being fake, but they were statements of this coin cluster, which he told me is an account that you hold your Bitcoin in and where all the profits go. The first statement he gave me of his was like he had invested $170,000 and he had already had $2 million.
Hello, beautiful. I'm gonna be sending you a check for $100,000. A payment just came in from a big job.
And he says, we're gonna use it for investment for our future. A week later, I did get this $100,000 check, and there was a person's name on it. So I questioned him. I'm like, who is this person? Why are they sending you this check? He's like, oh, she owed me money from construction work that I did. It all like he was always a step ahead. I told my girlfriend, I'm like, oh my God, I got this $100,000 check. I don't know if it's real. And she's like, you have to go to the police, right? And I'm like, of course. So I go to my local police station with this $100,000 check and I say, I think it's a fraud. I'm not sure. I've been talking to this person online and they were very dismissive. They blew me off. Ha ha ha. See if it clears. And I'm like, okay, great. I call the bank who issues the check. And the bank is like, yep, it's legit. I'm like, okay, so it's legit. Unbeknownst to me, all of the time that I'm sending money, I'm thinking it's going from Bitcoin to Coin Cluster. But Coin Cluster was all made up and fake, and my money was gone once it was in that e-wallet. They're sending me fake statements. I'm thinking I'm making all this profit. There were several holidays that passed by that we were supposed to meet. Every time there was an excuse, got to get this project done, and is not able to get away. I didn't find out really until June of 2024. I received a call, and it was from the same local police station that I had been to a year before. This detective calls me and he says, Jacqueline, we got a call anonymous call from a gentleman with a thick Indian accent stating that he felt sorry for you because you were being scammed. I just had like a lump in my throat, a gut punch that, when the realization that this was all gone, it was shock. It is emotional, and I guess people expect me to, you want to throw things, but it's internalized because I feel like sitting in this chair in front of you is going to get more exposure for people, because we know most people are so embarrassed. You're going to live another day and you're going to move on and you're going to go forward. I hope to only go forward. And again, just keep telling myself I am a victim. I did nothing wrong.
All totaled, $905,000 was stolen from Jackie. In addition, she owes $59,000 in federal and state taxes on the money she took out of her retirement account. Her case is still an active investigation. Unfortunately, once we've decided someone is trustworthy, it's hard to shift our perspective. This can convince us to ignore signs that we might be the target of fraud. Jackie was swept into what felt like a dream connection until it became a nightmare. The real danger of this scam is that connection. Even though it's a calculated manipulation, it feels real to the victim. The criminals will research you, study your online presence, and gather any personal data they can to craft highly personalized lies to gain your trust. There are steps you can take to protect yourself so you can hopefully recognize a scam before that false connection is made. First, do a reverse image search to investigate the person you're talking to. Just look up the term reverse image search on your favorite search engine to learn how. If the image shows up anywhere else with a different name attached, a scammer likely stole the picture. Second, be sure to discuss new love interests with family and friends. All experts agree this is the best way to avoid becoming a fraud victim. Checking in with someone who can give you perspective is invaluable. And third, always do your research before investing. There's a lot of good information on what to look for. Check out the consumer website of the Securities and Exchange Commission at investor.gov. When you're the target of a scam, the perpetrator isn't just guessing, they're digging. Protecting yourself requires vigilance to recognize a fraud attempt for what it is.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in a twilight zone. I still say, did this really happen? But it did. I want everyone to know there's no look, there's no age. If you feel like or even think you're being scammed, let someone know and maybe they can help you or go to the police. I found out about AARP's Fraud Watch Network through the Department of Social Services from my state. AARP is family to me. Everyone has been so supportive. No one judged me, which I was surprised. There was no shame, blaming, or just, oh, how could you be so, stupid? I've now spoken to people across the country. I've done webinars. It's not something I thought I'd ever be able to do, but I feel like I don't have a choice. You can't change the past, but maybe you could help some people and change the future.
By continuing to tell her story, Jackie is breaking the silence that keeps so many victims in the shadows. If you or someone you know has been affected by fraud, we can help. AARP Fraud Watch Network is a free resource for all. With AARP as your partner, you'll learn how to proactively spot scams, get guidance from our fraud specialists if you've been targeted, and feel more secure knowing that we advocate at the federal, state, and local levels to protect consumers and enforce the law. You are not alone. Find out more at aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork or call the Fraud Watch Network helpline at 877-908-3360.
Jackie's story is impactful, and you can see that a personal story is key to the passage of important legislation. You can learn more about fraud prevention work at AARP at www.aarp.org/fraud. And as always, I invite viewers to join us as an e-advocate and help us advance policies important to the 50+ in Connecticut. Just scan the QR code below, and we look forward to you joining the team.